So I just got done watching this video by Eric Bugenhagen, not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but it's called My Final Video on Science-Based Lifting. And I love this video because I agree with like 95% of the stuff that he said. Like literally like 95%. The only thing that I don't really agree with was he said something about like, full range of motion not being the be all end all, which actually is kind of true. I'm paraphrasing, but like, um, I'm not going to get lost in the weeds with that. But basically, uh, I agree with the entire video, because I have always been kind of like avoidant of like science based lifters on YouTube, especially because the first, I don't know, 8 or 10 years of my lifting life, I didn't even look to the internet for advice because I started when I was like 13 and I didn't even really get into like lifting, or I mean, sorry, like the internet, lifting on the internet, like internet fitness until I was like in my mid 20s. So, like, the vast majority of my lifting was just literally me under the belief that, you know, go to failure, do several sets. I mean, when I started lifting, I was told do 10 reps, make sure the last few reps burn a lot, do 3 sets. And then, after you're done, working out, eat tons of food. And that was it. And then, of course, over time, I was in the trenches of the gym and I would see what worked. I would try new things. I would make mistakes. I would learn from those mistakes. I would, experiment with like different diets. I would experiment with different like workout programs, which, by the way, I never followed a workout program made by anybody else. I always just had my own, like, made my own workout programs. Like, I didn't even know that programs were what you would call them. I had no idea. And yeah, I have good genetics for building muscle, 100%. But I mean, on top of that, like, I don't know, I just have an intuitive understanding of like how to program these things. Maybe it's a gift because it seems like there's so many people who get into lifting and they treat it like it's rocket science. They're like, they need to like hire coaches and have everything laid out and like what exercise to do first, second, last. And to me, that's crazy. Like, I never had any of those problems, you know? And so, like, the science based lifters, they overthink every fucking thing, man. Like, what was crazy to me, was when I didn't even know that this existed. When I was, in my mid 20s and I started to watch like YouTube fitness, I stumbled across some of these science based lifters and they were talking about reps in reserve. I had no idea this was even a thing. It never crossed my mind that you would ever need to have reps in reserve. Like, to me, that's insane. It's still insane to this day to like to do a set, know that you could do like 3 or 4 more reps, and then decide to not do those reps. That's crazy to me, dude. That's insane. Like, I always go all out. Like, I always go to failure. Like, I just don't understand. Like, unless it's like a warm up set, Um, to me, like, reps in reserve just means warm up set. It means it's not a real set. That's what it means to me. But like, for people to actually work out and only do reps in reserve sets, that's like, no wonder you're not getting results. Yeah, that's what the science based lifting is telling you. But everybody who like talks about science based lifting and doing reps in reserve, they look like shit. They're like skinny little bitches. They don't have any muscle. It's all theory. It's all talk. Just like Eric Bugenhagen was saying, it's all fucking talk. Talk, talk, talk. They're not walking the walk in the walk, right? So, you know, it's just, man, like, it's always just been one of those like things. It's kind of like a fly, that just like it gets on you, you try to hit it, but then it's like flying in the air, you keep missing it. That's kind of like what science based lifters are. They're just kind of like this annoying fly. It's like, okay, shut the fuck up, go away. Like, at the end of the day, you need to have heart and soul when you lift, and you have to like have that drive. And actually, that's another thing that Eric Bugenhagen was saying too. Was like you have to have that drive, that fire. What gets you going, and it's true. It's true. There needs to be a fire within that fuels your motivation to work out. That's your soul, right? It's kind of like if it's like art, like if you want to make a painting or like you want to make a song, and you have two people, right? You have one person who's like, how should I scientifically do this painting? Like, and you have another person who they have a vision and they have passion for painting, and it's just every stroke of the pen is enjoyable to them and it's meaningful to them. That person is going to be a better painter, right? Than the person who is like looking at a textbook like, oh, I should do this technique for this type of you know uh, effect on the paintbrush and these two colors, and don't get me wrong, like yeah, if you want to learn how to like paint well, you do have to learn from somebody. I'm sure like it helps, but like the point is, once you have enough of these like tools at your disposal, you know it's going to be a blend of understanding technicalities of how to do these things. Again, whether it's like making a song, making like a painting, a drawing, or lifting weights, it's going to be a blend of knowing the technicalities, but also having that heart and that soul and that drive, and I guess to an extent, a gift, right? Like like that ability to push yourself. I honestly think the only reason that reps in reserve exist is because there are people who are too much of like a pussy to push themselves to failure, and they just want to excuse that. That's honestly what I think. I think that there's just people like they're too much of a bitch. They're little bitches, and they just don't have it in them. Maybe they didn't play sports as a kid or something like that, and so maybe they started lifting as an adult, so they never developed that ability to physically push themselves to failure in those developmental years when they were younger. So as an adult, it's been kind of solidified in their physiology to not ever push themselves to failure. And so they want an excuse to be able to justify having reps in reserve. That's honestly what I think. That is genuinely what I think, because I never knew about reps in reserve, and I surpassed anybody around me. Everybody around me. I surpassed everyone. When I was in high school, like I had a decent amount of muscle mass, and I wasn't even like, again, if I was like on point with like a diet and like a a program like I'm doing right now, I mean I would have been even bigger. But like I was still like bigger than any of my friends who were lifting. And I remember like was it like the end of junior year or like senior year, some of my friends were getting into lifting, and I remember one day a couple of them came up to me and they were asking me, because I was obviously successful in my lifting endeavors and my body showed for it. And they were asking me what kind of creatine that I use. I didn't even know what the fuck creatine was. I didn't know. I had been lifting for 4 years and I didn't even know what creatine was, but I was bigger than these guys. Okay. And that's why I say like creatine, it's not like a scam product, because like it technically does offer benefits, but it's not a make or break product. It might like give you like a fraction of a percent of an edge, but like just eating plenty of meat and like staying hydrated and just like hitting your macros, which I kind of hate that term honestly, but like for all intents and purposes, like getting enough carbs, fats, protein, overall calories in. Really it's just calories and protein, as long as you're getting fats and carbs in there. um you know as long as you're doing that, you're going to be fine. Like you don't need creatine. You don't, right? So it's kind of like, yeah, it's not a scam product, but it's not exactly like a necessity. But I mean, if you have the expendable income and you want to just like throw it in your supplement regimen, then why not, right? But like the point of me saying that is like, these are guys who in hindsight, I now realize they must have been like going online and trying to figure out like what are some supplements that you can take, or like what is the you know bullet point step by step guide to getting muscular. and they were just trying to figure that out. Whereas I didn't have that. For me, it was just like a passion for, the process. Like, I loved to progress. I love to see myself get stronger over time. I love to see myself look better over time, look more muscular over time. And like, I could literally see the fruits of my labor in the mirror, and like, I could feel the fruits of my labor whenever I would have, strength gains. And it was just, it was something I enjoyed the process of doing. Whereas these people, it wasn't like that for them. It wasn't like that for them. So it wasn't in their blood. So they tried to scientifically lift. And I honestly think that scientific lifters, it's not something that they naturally enjoy doing. I don't think that lifting is in a scientific lifter's blood. Like, I just don't think it's something that they have like a genuine passion for. And there's going to be exceptions, but what I mean is like the fact that and when I say scientific lifting, I'm not saying like they're like ignoring reality or anything like that. But I mean, like, for example, like like getting pedantic and getting like to the point to where you're hyper focusing on these details, like you're getting lost in the weeds. Like, should I have 285 grams of protein or should I have 290 grams of protein? And it's like, dude, just have like 400 grams of protein. Who gives a fuck? Just have 400. Just have 350. Like, stop. Oh, should I do 3 reps in reserve or 2? Or should I do 4 reps in reserve and just do like 2 extra sets? Go to failure, motherfucker. Shut the fuck up. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Go to fucking failure. If you are doing reps in reserve and you're never going to failure, like, you aren't meant to be a lifter. You're just not. It's not you. Just stop. What's that Michael Jackson or a Michael Jordan meme? It's like, stop, get some help. It's not you. You're like the painter who you're trying to fit in and be like the next whatever famous painter, and Galileo or whatever, and you don't even have the skill to be an average painter, but you won't let that dream go. And it's like, I think that's what a lot of these scientific lifters are going through with lifting. It's like, they want so badly to have like a blueprint, and it's like, dude, if it was in your blood, like, you wouldn't even ever like think to look to the scientific community for answers on how to gain muscle. I never do, bro. I never do. I've never had a lifting partner. I mean, unless like an odd, workout here and there, just to like, it wasn't even because I wanted a lifting partner. It was just because like a friend wanted to lift with me, and I'm like, okay, sure. Probably like a handful of times, like in the 20 years that I've been lifting. So like, for, in effect, I've never had a lifting partner. I've never like looked up, anything like scientific, whatever lifting related online for advice, right? I've never hired a coach. I've never, anyways, I've never, it was lost on me. It was related to the coach thing, basically. I've never followed a program that's been laid out by anybody else, right? So never hired a coach, never followed a program laid by anybody else. I took creatine for a little bit, like a couple years, and I stopped. My results didn't change. I mean, like, at the end of the day, it's bullshit. Like, the scientific lifting thing, it's like they're going through all this effort to try to decipher these modicum changes that might happen if you apply certain scientific techniques, which might amount to like a fraction of a percentage of difference in your result, which in reality probably you wouldn't even experience any difference if you actually applied them. And everything's theoretical, and it's just, and then they come to a conclusion, and then like 6 months later they redact that conclusion, and then they say something the opposite, right? And it's just like, Shut the fuck up. Lift. And I think that was the point of Eric Bugenhagen's video. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. I think that was the point. Is that like just shut the fuck up and lift? Like what the fuck? Like what are we doing? I mean, really, what the fuck are we doing? You know, Mike Israetel and you know fucking Jeff Nipper. Shut the fuck up. Lift. Be a beast. Be a monster. Be an animal. Right? That's what you need to do. It's about that inner ape in you, that inner monkey, that inner that's what it's about. It's not about let me get my pencil, guys, and like 5 + 5 to the second power. If you have 10 reps in reserve for a 50 rep max set on your second set, shut the fuck up and lift, please. Okay. Anyways, great video by Eric Bugenhagen. Have a great day, guys. Peace.